Listening to your goals and dreams is our top priority at West Tennessee Bank. Benefit from our more than 100 years of experience and visit our Henderson branch today. West Tennessee Bank, focused on you. West Tennessee Bank is a division of Decatur County Bank, equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Okay, first item on the agenda are the minutes or the corrections or amendments to the minutes.
I don't have any corrections, but I saw something in the minutes about the engineering from Ford to White on water. I saw Jim wanted to build it. Are we close to getting an engineer yet?
He's got a preliminary drawing, and we walked the job and got all the locates done, so we know what was where, so we can put those in the specifications to make sure the contractors or potential bidders will be aware of what was there. So we did the final preliminary walkthrough of that project, and he's going to put the final touches on the plans and specs.
I didn't have any corrections to the minutes. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Have a motion to approve the minutes. Do I have a second? Second. Have a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed signify by no. Motion carried. Next item on the agenda are accounts. There's no vote required. If you have any questions on our accounts, please give us the page number and line number.
The guy cut the grass and she up on everything like he's supposed to.
Send you Texas.
Any other questions on our accounts? Okay. Next item on the agenda is delegations. If anybody here is want to address the city council on any issue, please come forward. Okay, we'll go to the next item. Next item is item D. Consider final action or on amending the zoning of property at the fire station number 1, 505 Sanford Street in an adjacent lot. Proposed site for the new CC 911 Communication Center from R1 residential to B4 highway business. This time I'll open up the public hearing for anybody who's pro or con. Seeing that, we'll close the public hearing, go to item 2, consider the ordinance rezoning. Entertain a motion for the final reading. So moved. Have a motion on the final reading. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a second. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Phelps? Yes. Mr. Barber?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Vance?
Yes.
4 voted in favor, 2 absent.
The ordinance passes. Next item is item E, consider approval of resolution authorizing the application in local matching funds for a property conservation matching grant through the city insurance booth.
Yes, this is the time of year we can apply for a property conservation grant through the VWL, actually, PE partners. Public entity partners. Yeah. I keep forgetting, I always think we'll stay at the pool, which is their old name. This is a program that we have participated in year before last, and we're able to get the cameras for the city park. Last year we planned on applying, but we didn't make the deadline. There were a lot of issues and we didn't get to apply. So we didn't actually apply, even though you passed a resolution, we didn't finally make the application. This year I'd like to go ahead and make the application. We looked at a couple different options, and we're still trying to work out the details, but we're hoping to apply for security cameras in either the maintenance building or the utility record drive building, one of the two, or both, depending on cost. The maximum amount is $8,000, and they'll reimburse us full. So it's not a bad deal. It's a 50-50 grant, and we're just asking permission for you to pass this, where we can go ahead and get the information together and apply. So make a decision. It's going to be security cameras, it's just going to depend on which facility, and we're going to determine which one's the highest priority.
There's something you're going to spend money on anyway. Mine's looking at somebody that may have it.
And of course, applications are due in November, but the sooner you get it in, the more chance you're going to get funded.
Remember, I think the last time, we got it approved and everything else, but we were one of the last to get in, and the funding was dried up.
I'll make a motion that we pass this resolution authorizing the participation in the matching grant program.
Have a motion on the resolution. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a second. Any discussion on the motion? Roll call vote.
Mr. Phelps? Mr. Carter?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Manning?
Yes.
4 in favor, 2 absent.
Resolution passes. Next item is item F, authorize taking bids allowing acceptance of the best bid on the coating of the roof at 60 Breaker Drive Utility and 760 US 45 North Maintenance Shop.
We've got the spec together, we're going to put final, things in it, and hopefully bid that job for the record drive. That roof is leaking in several places, and it's got several failed areas. We'll get that, we originally put that in the budget, and we also had the maintenance shop, the portion that was not done, when they did part of that one on 45 bypass. So put those two projects together, hopefully get a better price.
This is in the maintenance. It is in on the maintenance shop. This is in the part of the budget.
Yeah, we do have budget and maintenance budget, department budget to cover it. He has it in his budget to do the record drive.
You're asking us to allow acceptance.
It's going to be in.
Bid and.
And I said, if Darrell thinks you'll have them back, or you will wait till next meeting.
Hopefully we'll have it back.
We're asking to be able to take the lowest bid. If it's not, we'll come to the board on the best bid.
Well, as long as it's within the budget.
Yeah, budget.
That's all.
Well, I think too, just my feeling is we get one that we want to do a best bid, I think I need to come back to y'all on the best bid. I just think
And it
low
may be
bid's fine, but I think best bid,
Yeah.
it's not the lowest bid, it's the best bid, I gotta come back, I think I gotta come back to y'all.
And it may be close enough to the next board meeting, we'll be bringing it back to you anyway. So, but I didn't know how fast Darrell was going to be working on the bill to get these out for me.
I just didn't want to slow down getting it fixed.
Oh,
Get that done. Pleasure of the board.
Make a motion, we authorize taking bids.
Have a motion to authorize us to take the bids on both buildings, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second, is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, signify by no. Motion carried. Okay. Next item is authorize the purchase of pickup truck on state contract for the utility department. Derek?
We had 2 trucks in the budget. One was like a Colorado smaller vehicle. The other one was a large one. They're still not taking any orders for the larger vehicles yet, but there's a window open to take bids on the Colorado. We did put money in there. It is in the budget, and it was based on the price that we paid for the last one that we got under state contract, plus we added an inflation adder to it to make sure we had enough money in there. And as we look at what we paid last time, this price is actually lower than the last one we got. So we go ahead and try to get it if we can.
So it is below what you got in your budget for this.
Maybe you'll get it from the police department. There's stuff. Well, I would make a motion to authorize the purchase of the state contract.
Have a motion to approve pickup under state contract, do I have a second? Second. I have a second, any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye. All opposed, signify by no. Motion carries. Okay, other business. This time, if y'all remember, we appointed a committee to do concerning the landscaping in front of the city hall. I think Mark, I think Dina's here, and Heather's here, and I think Mark is, which one is going to report to the board? Jump out there, guys.
Dana, do you want to do it, or you want me to talk about it? I don't care. Okay. What we did is we've gotten, did you get your second bid? Okay. We tried with 2 vendors. As you know, all flower beds were
our shrub beds around City Hall have been vacated, for lack of a better term. And so Dina has approached two different local suppliers to look about putting new plantings in. The second vendor has not submitted a bid. I don't even know if he ever came by and looked at it. He has not. So we do have an estimate from Four Seasons and Adam Sear for putting in some low maintenance plantings that's still in proportion to the building. One thing we're going to do is incorporate the cornerstone. Is that what you would call the? Actually, not really a cornerstone. So the marker and then a bronze, and then there's a bronze plate from the previous city hall that we want to incorporate into this planning as well. The estimate I think that you've received, and remind me because I've
It was 8,000.
8,000. That's kind of what I was thinking was in the ballpark of 8,000 to redo all of the
It was
turns.
a little more than
A little more than
Yeah.
8, so less than 9.
Oh, yes.
So we got that committee has come back, and that money will need to come out of undesignated. If the board chooses to let us go ahead and pursue that, that's what we're asking.
It wouldn't come out of the extra, if we put some extra maintenance money in.
I don't think we put extra, but we do have money in maintenance, but, you know, we don't know what's going to happen for the rest of the year, so, you know, worst case scenario, if we,
Take it out of
we'll have to go back and ask
Take it out
them.
of
We can do it either way you want to, Keith. We can take it out of maintenance, and if something happens, we gotta come back to you, we'll come back to you. It's whatever way you want us to do.
Okay.
I'm trying to take it out.
Okay.
Have a motion, is that a motion? Take it out of maintenance.
Take the money out of maintenance to do the landscape.
Have a motion, take it out of maintenance, do I have a second?
I'll second
Have a second, any discussion on that?
that.
Any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, signify by aye. All opposed, signify by no. Motion carries. Next item, and since she is here, I'm gonna ask her to come address the board. We have, I think we're gonna have something at the park on October 30th, and I'll be honest with you, it is grown. And I think it is, could be something great. The park board, and Dina, and Heather, and Mark have worked on this, and I think she needs to tell the board what we're doing. And I asked Heather to come up and tell us what's going to happen. Because I think she's going to ask us that we all need to show up and be part of it.
Oh, really?
You're not always, so.
I didn't know I was coming to address the board.
You're fine.
Go ahead.
So, I don't know what you want me to.
That's what you tell what we're going to do. I think it's important because I've got more phone calls of people wanting to do this and be involved in it. It's turned out something we thought was small, it turned out to be big.
It did. So this bright idea, we've talked about it as a park board for a couple of years now and wanted to do something safe for Halloween. And there's always the, trunk or treats at this church, that church, downtown, there's something, trying to come together at the courthouse. So we met as a park board and said, hey, we should just have something at the park. The new trail is there. We've been drawing some attention with the Storybook Trail on it. Lots of positive feedback from that trail. So when we met the other day, we said, let's do a sort of like a trunk or treat, I guess, without cars. So the idea is to close the main entrance to the park, and we're going to begin at 2 o'clock and allow all these businesses to set up. Now, mind you, when we started talking about this, we were just going to do this as not a city thing, not a Mark Barber thing, but a Friends of Gene Randry Park. So I pulled from the Facebook page the people that visit the park, the people who comment, who share our posts, those kinds of things. So I contacted about 80 people and said, hey, would you like to just come sit on the trail and hand out candy to kids? Oh man, they were so excited. And when we shared this with Shane Connor, said you got a few churches that want to do that. Well, now we have 25. So we reached out to Kevin because I just called him the other day. I was like, okay, so this ended up being bigger than we ever thought. it's going to be great. I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be sweet. I think it's going to be safe. We're going to have the city there. We're going to have the county sheriff's department there. We're going to have the fire department there. I don't know all these businesses and churches that are coming, but there's a long list of them. They'll all begin setting up around 2 o'clock that day, block off the main entrance. They'll come in the 45 entrance, park in the big parking lot, and everybody's going to walk. So we're not going to have all these cars. You're not going to have vehicles that are set up. If you're setting up, you are going as a person, taking your little table and sitting it up on one of the trails. So based on the phone calls, I think, and the comments that we've gotten, the people that have stopped Eric and Dana down at the park, I think our community is really excited about this. We would love for all of you to come, even if you don't want to set something up, you're not going to get out of it, you're not going to get out of it, you also have to be there, I think. But if you'd just like to come and, see the turnout and see how many people just really love the park and appreciate it, I think that would be fabulous. Another little fun added extra is, I don't know if you all saw pictures, you probably weren't there, but at the barbecue festival, they had Princess with a Tea, or Tea with a Princess. And we had some of the high school students dress up as Disney princesses. So we're going to have those kind of meandering around the park. Princesses, Prince Charming, superheroes. So we've got some students that are volunteering. If it gets dark, we're going to have flashlights in their hand. We're trying to think of all the safety issues. Kevin's really trying to get us to get a fog machine. You're going to have to talk to Mark because that wants to bring out a chainsaw. But I don't know if I touched on, I tried to hit the high points. Do y'all have questions about something or suggestions?
I think this is,
Yeah. Little change. Yeah.
Hey, I gotta be in Spring Hill that day.
I think it's.
We have a schedule for you, I'm sorry.
I think with everything going on around us, this was an opportunity that people wanted to get out. And it, like I say, we're outside, safe environment, and everything else. I think it's great. I think utilities going to bring their big lights down just in case we need them. We're going to set them up. We hope we don't need them, but if it gets dark on us, we can crank those up to shine up in those woods to do that. So I think so the police department is going to take care of all this. The police and sheriff department will take care of the security so people will be safe. And I think we're going to end up having this great event down there. I'll be honest with you, I'm really happy and I'm really thankful. Our park board is always thinking about something down there to do, and I really appreciate it. It's made that park a great fit. And I couldn't ask for a better time with this new trail, walking trail. It really has turned to be, people really enjoy it. To be able to have the young kids enjoy it on Halloween, I think it'd be great.
It's going to be awesome. Thank you. Like I said, I didn't plan on taking the floor at all or addressing anybody, but as a park board member, I very much appreciate the partnership here because I don't often come to city meetings, and some of you, I don't see Michael out much at all, so I appreciate all of you. I mean, y'all been good for that area down there, and I'm telling you, people love it. They absolutely love it.
The next item like I say, we did one for the landscaping. We're going to, and also we're fixing to form a committee of 2 aldermen along with Jim on the building committee. Keith and Lookham. Thank you. No, we're looking at downstairs. I'll let Jim go over what we do. And I'm sorry, with your expertise, you're going to have to be part of that committee. And Keith, with your money expertise, you're going to have to be part of that committee too. But no, we're Jim, I'll let Jim explain what we're looking at. Go ahead.
Well, we've been talking several things about improving the building. And of course, the ARP funds is probably going to give us a funding source that we can do some renovations to the building under the name of COVID protection and be able to use those funds based on our current information. Now, that's going to be changing over the next 30, 60 days. But With that being said, we have talked about several different things. One is the vacant space on this floor that we've been talking about for years, making it more of a classroom setup. So that's one. This will give us the ability to allow people that are meeting here, the community as a whole, to spread out where they're not as tight as far as sitting on top of one another. So I think that's something we need to talk about, how we're going to prepare that room. We've also talked about a bigger conference room on the first floor at the back part of the building. There's some issues that we need to discuss. Is it time to do a couple more offices in that area too? But I need somebody to bounce ideas off of before we go to an architect. This is a project that's big enough, we're going to get an architect involved. There's also some changes I want to make in our office area. Sheila is retiring at the end of the month. Well, end of the year is when her retirement date is, but her last day in the office is in the month. I'm looking at maybe changing that position from less of a receptionist and more of a clerk, and moving them more into the collection area, and utilizing that office space for my assistant Alicia to move into, to put her closer to what's going on a day-to-day basis. So that's going to make some renovation of both the front counter and that office that needs to take place. So I've got ideas, I want opinions, and I need it to be the board to basically help me guide us to the architect, select an architect, and then move forward with a plan as we see these funds are available, to try to come up with a budget. So we've talked about it for a long time. I've been talking to Brent, the mayor, about my ideas, and everybody's got ideas, so I want input from everybody. So y'all that are on the committee, if you want to ask, please ask. But I need a couple more members to be aware and be more hands-on and give me some recommendations on moving forward. And then actually I need a motion that the committee can select maybe an architect to begin preliminary.
Kind of what we're asking for is one is a motion to approve the committee, Jim, Keith, and Snookum, and also giving that committee the authority to move forward to begin the architect.
Okay, motion.
Have a motion, do I have a second? I have a second. You notice it's amazing, motion and second for people that ain't on the committee.
That's why I don't have.
Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Aye. All opposed signify by no. Thank you very much. Ron, do you have anything? No. Just happy to see the police department looks a little younger and a little more bigger down there. Then you get a building. Brent.
Yes, sir. I have a couple of things. The city and the county own some property on Harmon Street, 419 and 423. The county sold that at a tax sale, a few months back. The person who purchased that could not live up to the end of the bargain that the county had put in about demolishing the two structures. So the county has taken that back, so the city and county are now owners again. What we're wanting the board to do is let us go out to bid to demo that property, the two houses, clean up that property, and then get it back on the tax roll, either by coming up with some entity that would put a house on it or selling it to the highest bidder. And that's 419 and 423 Harmon. And then we have one other piece of property at 126 Whitley. We're looking to get that piece of property cleaned up. We got the property owner to demolish the house, but it's still laying there in a pile. And it's been several months, so we've given them ample time. We want to go out to bid on that, clean up of that lot. We'll give him a date that he can have it done by. If he doesn't, then we want to go in and clean that up, get that street cleaned up. So, and that's directly in front of the Family Dollar, the Save-A-Lot building
Now, the county mayor has agreed to share in the demolition of the structure.
County mayor calls advised that he would, not the structures, but both of them on
Harmon Street.
He would.
Which I think this board has already approved that months ago to do that with the county.
Yeah, so that structure, when we do those two structures, the county would pay half of the completion.
we authorize both those demolitions.
A motion, do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed, signify no. Motion carries. Raise your hand. Chief?
I want to let the board be aware, we've been in the process of redoing our permits for discharging wastewater in each of the 3 lagoons for the last 6 months. Finally got a draft of all 3 permits. There are going to be some changes. They're adding some phosphorus and nitrogen limits, and it's going to be based on a rolling average of pounds per year. We'll have to go back and data that we've been collecting over the last couple of years to see what effect that is going to have on us. It doesn't really look like, since we have put aeration in place and things, that's going to affect us that much. Biggest thing I see probably in the permit is the requirement to, they set an average monthly limit for chlorine that's half the current limit. And so we have, in anticipation of that, we've been doing some experimentation with some of the lagoons and all that. There's no way we'll ever meet that limit if we don't start dechlorinating, which will probably cause us to double our chemical cost at the lagoons. And if you look at some of the expenditures in the accounts, we've spent a tremendous amount of money with Waypoint because there was a lot of testing that was required to actually, background information they wanted as part of this renewal process, and we've done a lot of extra testing that we would normally do. And then we've had to add some chemical pumps and things that were better than the ones we were currently using just to feed chlorine, just so we could get a handle on the balance and all that. And these new limits take effect in January, so we're looking at the month of January. So I think we'll be able to do what we need to do to meet that requirement. But it's not just a matter of, if we turn down the chlorine, we'll violate the E. coli limits. If we leave it high, we violate the chlorine limit. So there's really, we're in a catch-22. We'll just have to do what we have to do to meet the extra requirements.
Only thing I had on my paving, I talked back to the Ford paving company, they said they wouldn't be able to run the paving this year, so maybe we looking at maybe we can do something.
I think we're planning on stepping on the same list, we're just going to have to push it back to the spring. Yeah.
Jim can put it in our fund too. One thing I want to say, come in conjunction with that we're going to do as the Friends of Gene Record Park, is there will be a bucket or a box for people to leave donations as they finish. We have a lot of friends in this community that donated. Those funds go right back into the park. The city itself doesn't benefit anything from that. So if benches are bought or trees are planted, those are coming from donations that have been made for our community. And so we're going to give people, firmly, we're giving people an opportunity to give. So there will be a box there, and that's going to run from 4 to 6 on the 30th. If y'all didn't get that date, but I encourage you, like Heather said, to come out and be with the folks and be seen.
Question, will you have to come back to us with bids on the demolition, or is that something that can happen whenever farming and stuff?
I think it could happen. Like I said, we've got some money in the budget for demolition. What we would do is pay for it out of our budget. If it will cover it, and I feel like it will. And then the demolition, it could be recruited, I guess, to the general fund. If not, then it will be sold at loss, and it'll just be, get rid of the blight, using the money that we've got budgeted for that.
Ron, you were checking on Kim, any results on his surgery?
I texted him, he said that, he got a nerve block now, so he's not doing any pain at the moment, but.
Eric had mentioned at the last, mentioned at the last meeting about walk behind paper, saw, but we were gonna get a national ball, it's already wrong.
Is there?
It's here, he came in yesterday.
Oh, well, that's correct.
It was all, everything else came in yesterday.
Okay. And I noticed in some of the accounts that Hannah, they paid something for you, your notary fee or something.
It is for November.
Were you already one?
Sheila had been our notary, her leaving, I needed a replacement.
Okay, so thanks for that. And that's all I have.
I asked for volunteers, and she volunteered.
One thing I did do since Heather and Dean are here and Mark about our park really is not a city park. It's a community park. This community has really invested in this park and it's made it what it is. I don't think the city of Henderson, just having a city park, would ever got as far as we've got if it wasn't for community involvement. And I think one thing nice about the community is took ownership of that park too. They worry about it. I get phone calls, and it's not a bad thing. For we ought to do this or complain we shouldn't be doing this, that's not a bad thing because the people took ownership of the park and they wanted to be better. So, if that, anybody has anything else they'd like to say, at this time I entertain a motion to adjourn. So, we're adjourned.